Hello and welcome to the path to $1 million. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart for today, starting with the 1 day period. There is still this possible hidden bearish divergence flashing in the charts right now, which could be a warning sign that is about to be confirmed in yesterday's video. I also talked about this possible secret bearish divergence. But this isn't really true yet because, as I said in yesterday's video, we need to see a red daily candle close below this previous high to be sure of this secret bearish divergence. In the video from yesterday, I talk a lot more about this secret bearish divergence. This is known as Bitcoin danger signal flashing. If you want to learn a lot more about that, all you have to do is watch the beginning of this video I posted yesterday. Today I'm going to keep this short when it comes to this flashing danger light. What you should know about this though is that if we get this red daily candle close, it means that there is a secret bearish divergence in the charts. That being said, this is still a bearish split, even though it's not a normal one. A bearish divergence usually means that the recent positive price action will end soon. Most of the time this ends with either choppy sideways price action or maybe some downward progress on a daily basis. That being said, we should also talk about how this secret bearish divergence can be thrown out, which is also very clear. What if, for example, we get a confirmed candle close above the previous high and the price of Bitcoin goes up even more? Hence, the secret bearish divergence would not be valid anymore. Or if the daily RSI shows a move above this trend line, it would also mean that the hidden bearish divergence is not valid. However, as I also said in yesterday's video, be careful if you see something like this. Yes, we invalidated here on the RSI, but we don't make a higher high in the daily price action. In that case, we could just redo this trend line here. We would still have a secret bearish divergence in the charts, which means the same things I said earlier in the video. Again, keep an eye out for the end of the daily candle, which will happen in about 5.5 hours. This could be an early sign that the price is about to change direction. I also noticed that the daily MACD sign might end below the previous day for a second day in a row. This means that the bullish trend is slowing down. To say it again, if this trend keeps going, we will eventually move back into bearish space. I also remember giving the same signal when we saw this. We saw this slowing down of bearish momentum and rising positive divergence again the next day, and the situation was pretty much the same. Okay, also if we look at the bigger picture on a daily scale, we can see that Bitcoin has been settling in this downward direction for months. For now, we've only touched the low point of this descending level of resistance. But if there is a turnaround, we could say that it touched the top of the descending channel and then went back down. That's also something to keep in mind. If you look back at this, you could say that it was expected since we hit the top of the descending channel and then saw a move down. However, as I said in yesterday's video, if we zoom in on the lower time frames for Bitcoin, you can see that we are still above this Fibonacci golden pocket that is between 62,000 and 62.7 thousand. For now, I would say that as long as we stay above 62,000, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm still pretty much just bullish and think this rise will continue here. If, however, we see a break of this 62,000 level of support, my predictions will change a bit. At that point, I would expect another drop, possibly all the way down to 59.5 thousand, which is 5 levels below where we are now, which could be a level of support for a short time, especially near 60,000. This is what the bigger levels of support and resistance for Bitcoin look like. A move below 62,000 would happen. Following that, if that really does happen, I believe it's very likely that we will hit the bottom of this large level of support, which is currently around 60,000 US dollars. The recent high point on this 4-hour time frame was met with another perfect rejection, which means the price cannot go up. This level of resistance is at about 64.3 thousand, and above that is a big level of resistance that goes from 65,000 to 66,000. Now, if there is another move to the upside, these could be levels of resistance to keep an eye on in case the price goes back down. Next, we'll look at the Bitcoin sale heat map. Here's a look at the 1-week time frame. You can see that we took out a lot of upside liquidity, which is now at about 64 points and 4,000. We got that bounce from the Fibonacci golden spot I talked about earlier, and this liquidity swept across the board. Also, as I said in yesterday's video, keep an eye on those big areas of liquidity in case the trend changes. We went through this big level of liquidity perfectly, and then we went backwards exactly from that level as well. People ask me about this Bitcoin bankruptcy heat map from time to time, like if it's real or something. From my own experience, I've learned that these Bitcoin exit heat maps can help me find a possible level where the price might move towards or even away from. I made a free trade course that you can find on rt1m.com if you want to learn more about how to use those Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. Please visit my website to learn more about trading. You can sign up for free and get access to the full course, where I cover not only Bitcoin exit heat maps but also general technical analysis. Also, I already told you that you can check it out for free. You can see that most of the liquidity is now going down with a value of about 62.2k on the 1 week time frame of this Bitcoin sale heat map. This is again in the Fibonacci golden pocket that I showed you earlier in the video. You can also see that 62.2k is right below these different Fibonacci levels. Right now, this 0.786 Fibonacci level is at about 62.3 thousand. I believe it is likely that we will be drawn to that large amount of capital on the shorter time frames. It looks like a drop below this large level of support would clear out the money and then the price would rise again. That's just something to maybe keep in mind. It's possible that the price will drop below this level of support just to get some cash, and it will then bounce back up from there on shorter time frames. On longer time frames like the 1 day time frame, it would just look like a wick, like what we saw here when we swept that large amount of liquidity to the top. But if we look out 3 months, we can see that there is a lot of wealth both up and down. This is because prices have been going up and down in a straight line for months now. And when prices are moving back and forth choppy, whether they are on higher or lower terms, there is usually liquidity to both the upside and the downside because a lot of people are long and short at that point. Based on this liquidation heat map, I believe that if we break above this previous high at around 64.3 thousand, we will really get that proven daily candle close, for example. Then I believe it's a lot more likely that we'll end up moving this liquidity to the upside, pushing the price of Bitcoin as high as $71.2 thousand. But always keep this descending channel in mind. For example, on the 1 day period, we would need to see a break above about 66,000 to 67,000 USD first. But as you can see, we still have a lot of cash on hand even at that level. In this case, $400 million worth of short contracts would be closed if the price of Bitcoin reached $67,000. On this longer period, we are already trading pretty close to that price. Again, it wouldn't be crazy to see another one, even if it's just a quick rise to bring in a lot of cash. But as I already said, make sure to look for a daily candle close above that previous high. That would mean that the hidden bearish divergence is no longer true. This would mean that the possible bearish warning that is being priced in right now is not valid. The price of Bitcoin is expected to go up after that because of that invalidation. The last thing we'll do today is look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables. We got a net of about $92 million from these Bitcoin ETFs yesterday. And as I've been saying for more than a week now, the Bitcoin price is likely to keep going up as long as hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin are bought every single weekday through these Bitcoin ETFs. To sum up, I think things are going well so far, and the rise is likely to continue